make sure that we close the show with him because it's always a great main event. And Master Clark, as we talk about givers, that I talk a lot about, people who know him, the time he's willing to spend, the energy he's willing to share. You can call him at home. He'll if he's around, he'll spend and give of his time like none other. On top of that, he's one of the innovators, leaders of everything we do. So much of what we do can be tracked back to Jacksonville, Florida, and Master Clark. Every year he calls me up and he says, "What do you need, boss?" "I need you to in the main event, sir." "How much time do I got?" "All you want." So, Master Clark, if we can turn it over to you and give him a big hand. I have trouble getting up here. Give me, come on. All right, that's even better. So, do we need to give him a microphone or can they hear him? You got it?
I got it.
It's all yours, boss.
Let me rearrange everything. You guys can hear me? Hey, guys. Good to see everybody. He's going to get something for me. I don't know what it is. How's everybody? Good? Fantastic to be here once again. I should thank a few people, but I probably won't, but I'll try to come back to them. But one thing, last night I laid around and I said, okay, I listened to questions yesterday and I listened to people come over to the table and ask questions. I listened to the speaker. I said, okay, what can I say that possibly make a difference? Tell you the truth, if I had to do all the shit that y'all heard today and yesterday, I wouldn't be here. It's just too hard. This is, when I started teaching karate in 1971, when I opened my first school, it was the most fun thing you could possibly do. Well, I was young. It was the second most fun thing you could do. But now, at 74, it's the most fun thing you can do is teach martial arts. I really don't make it that complicated. I spend more time working on my people than I do on my business. My job is to develop my people, help them grow individually every single year, to give them the right information so they can make money. Do I make money? I make enough. I make enough that I can do everything I want. And I got 5 things I want to talk about if they'll give me time. Number 1 is your purpose. Number 2 is your model. And number 3 could be your money. We'd all like to talk about money unless you're in martial arts, you're not allowed to. Number 4 is your COVID bullshit. Number 5 would be your future, which can be either great or actually non-existent. So, and it all determines on you because your future determines on your ability to change, not how much stuff you know, not how much information you gather. Can you actually change? Because nothing in your school will change, nothing in your relationship with your spouse will change unless you change. And if you have a system where you can make changes year after year, and I'm going to put you right in the Warrior Master Training Program, which will help you change dramatically in 99 days, if you're interested at all. If you just think, I'm perfect right now, don't fuck with me, okay, I'll do that, all right? But that's not the way I am. And Master Reed said, you think you can go through this without offending everybody? I said, I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 that aren't offended. The rest of them, they're just going to have to be offended. I'm not very politically correct, nor do I intend to be. Now, it's important that you listen to every word I say. I didn't know that till a few years ago when somebody from Spain, actually from England, introduced me to a group that I was speaking to, and he said, you guys really got to listen to this guy. He knows a lot of stuff, and he's 70 years old. We don't know how long he'll be here. I said, how bad do I look? You know, so, and now I'm 74, so again, I don't know how long I'll be here. But I would say pay attention. And I don't want to tell you what to do in your school. I just want to tell you what I do in my school, and maybe that'll make you think about what you do in your school. Cool? Maybe it'll make you think about it. But I do not make it quite as complicated as people say, well, it's just normal business. Well, it isn't it? It's either fun or it's not also. For your instructors, for you, for all the students, it's either fun or it's not. It's pretty simple, but I'd like to thank Master Reed. He invites me and allows me to bullshit you every year for 30 minutes to an hour. Master Reed and I have been friends for 100 years. He's done a lot in the martial arts. He talks about everybody else, but you don't know that he's done every aspect of what we do, and he developed a lot of schools, and his instructors are some of the best and most productive in the industry today. He probably opened more schools than all of you ever will, and he sold them to his instructors, and they've done extremely well. Thank you, sir, for always inviting me. I'd like to thank Master von Schmeling and his wife. They're not here yet, but they're taking advantage of the Caribbean, but for flying me here privately, because 26 years ago when I met him, on our goal list was fly privately whenever you can. Now, in the martial arts industry, I only know 4 people that have ever bought a jet: Chuck Norris, Alan Steen, Mike Dillard, and Master von Schmeling. All the rest of them, they've either had prop planes or just fly commercially. So I applaud that, and I wish he was here. I'd like to thank him again, because it's great to finally reach one of the goals. I never reached it on mine. One of the goals was fly privately whenever possible. I've never reached it, but this weekend I got to do that. I'd like to thank my wife for being here and listening to me. She knows everything I'm going to say, but she forgets everything on purpose. So it's like it's new to her every time. But also, we dated 35 years. So if you're looking for somebody with persistence, before we got married, that's her. She never quits, and I'm thankful for that. And for you, because you have a lot of choices. You don't have to listen to everybody speak. And for most of you, nothing will change. You come year after year, you go to seminars, you read books, you do everything in the world. For most of you, nothing will change. Let me say that again. Nothing will change. And mainly it's because you're unwilling to change yourself. Because you expect your business to change, you expect your curriculum to change, your school to change, your income to change, your relationship to change with your spouse. But if you aren't willing to change, nothing will change. Make sense? You must say, well, I'm already perfect, and nothing will change. I've got it all right, nothing will change. You've already got that. So wherever you are is where you're intended to be, financially, in your relationship, and everything else. So everybody talks about purpose, but they talk about the purpose of their business or the purpose of their studio, and none of that matters if it doesn't reach your own purpose. So I'll tell you first, I discovered a long time ago, I decide my purpose, and then my purpose makes my life. And I've got 5 things I've lived on since 1976. Number 1, I've decided to be happy regardless of the circumstances around me. I've decided to be happy. Not I'm happy if it doesn't rain, or if I'm happy if I get to fly privately, or I'm happy if I make a lot of money. I've decided to be happy, and you need to be. That's the one thing. So how do you be happy when shit's falling all around you? How can you be happy when Europe's just entered into a new war? The thing is, whatever you're thinking about that's giving you anxiety or depression, change what you're thinking about, because all feelings are based on what you're thinking. So I use thought replacement, and I'm happy no matter what happens in my life. I don't react negatively to negative situations. I find a way to change the thoughts, because if you're dwelling on what's going on in Europe, you can't fix it anyway, right? There's not one damn thing you can do. Not one thing. So there's no need for me to dwell on it. If you're dwelling on COVID, there's not one thing you can do. You can get vaccinated 100 times, you're still getting COVID. You can wear a mask on your face and your ass, you're still getting COVID. You're getting COVID. None of that shit matters. So there's nothing you can do about it. So thought replacement to be happy. Number 2, I want to be free. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. Matter of fact, when I go to a store and they say, have a nice day, I stop and tell them, don't tell me what to do. Either that's part of your nomenclature, part of your language, or it's not. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, and I assume my instructors have the same thing going in their mind. If freedom is your number 1 thing, you've got to find a way to be free, and that means financially, physically, emotionally, time-wise, find freedom. Freedom is valuable beyond money. That's number 2. Anything I run this thing down, next thing is be young. I'm going to be young through martial arts. I'm going to do martial arts every day. In our master's program, it requires me to do something every day that's martial arts related. Every single day is a requirement for me to make the next level of mastership. But understand this, you will never, ever be this young again. This is it. This is the youngest you'll ever be. You better take advantage of it. You better hold on to it tight. You better keep it. Number 4, I intend to help somebody every day without thought of remuneration or what they did in the past. What they did in the past is no consequent to me. If I can help somebody, I will. And that's why I appreciate Master Reed. He always helps me with number 4. Now, I know only about 5 or 6 people in this room will get anything out of this. All the rest of you, I got to waste your damn time. But I don't know who's who. I don't know who will actually do something and who won't. So I just got to waste your time. Number 5, I'm willing to fall in love. Fall in love with my life, fall in love with the people around me, fall in love with my product. And when your heart gets broken because somebody leaves, whether it's an instructor or a spouse or a student, and it will, go back to number 1, find a way to be happy. Do not dwell on the loss of an instructor. Do not dwell on the loss of a spouse, even the loss of a family member. Do not dwell on it. You can't. It will not bring you peace and happiness in your life. So those are the 5 principles I will live by. So you decide your purpose, and your purpose will make your life. But if you don't have to use mine, but you better have some principles. Then someone says, hey, why don't we take a 1-month vacation and let's go somewhere? And you got to go down the list. Is that going to make me happy? No. We're going to Afghanistan. I'm not going. That won't make me happy. We're going to travel by a horse. No, I'm not going to do that. Is it going to make me happy? Is it going to set me free? If it doesn't match those 5 things, I just don't do it. Because that's my principles. That's my purpose. Those 5 things in my life. Because your purpose is about building an abundant life. That's it. It's not about teaching more people karate, making more money. If your purpose is making more money, do something else. Do something else. But you can make a lot of money. I'm not saying you can't. But it's not just make more money. So I think in the questions that you ask are very powerful sometimes. And they're powerful for you if you ask the right questions. The answers somebody gives can be powerful also, because they get to build themselves up when they answer. You get to ask a question, hopefully that tells you something, but you got to be careful who's asking and what's said. I remember my dad, I was about 7 years old. They used to have circuses. I know they outlawed them everywhere now. Anybody, your parents ever take you to a circus? Show of hands, please. The rest of you decided not to participate no matter what. You never saw an animal in your life in a cage. Okay, so Barnum and Bailey came to Jacksonville. My dad was about 7 years old. I knew I was about 7 because my parents just got divorced, and you remember those things. Takes me to the circus, holding my hand. There's a big cage with a lion in it. And you may have heard me tell the story before because it's absolutely true. A lady gets in high heels and an old, like Jane Fonda leotard. You remember that? Cut way up to here. And cracks a whip, and that lion sits up like a cat. And she cracks it, and he gets down like this. She cracks the whip again, and the lion starts crawling towards her. When he gets there, he licked her from her high heel right up to her thigh. And she looked at the audience and said, "You think you could do that?" My dad said, "You're damn right, you get that lion out of there." You got to kind of pay attention. I don't want to go over your head. So, but the questions and the answers both become important. So when you're listening to somebody's question, listen to the answer, but decide what do they really mean, and don't be afraid to enjoy your life, I know. So your purpose, I think those are the things. I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be free, I'm going to be young, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be willing to fall in love. And when your heart gets broke, and it will, go to what? Find a way to go back to number 1. Don't dwell there either. So that's it. That's my purpose, to live an abundant life through those principles. Nothing else. Nothing else. When you get to my business, it might change. Next, I want to talk about your model. Only to make you question your model, I'm going to tell you mine. And a lot of people think, well, you and Master Von Spelling do exactly the same thing. Well, we don't get the exact same results. We don't do exactly the same thing, but we're closer than all of you are. As much as we are different, we're closer than the rest of you because we talk all the time, we communicate all the time. But first, and I'm going to just ask some of the basic questions that you should have asked yesterday, like, what size is your average unit? Mine and his now are both about 2,000 square feet, that's all. How many staff? 1.5 to 2 people. That's it. It's not a big staffing thing. What's your curriculum? We both do a rotating curriculum. A rotating curriculum. We don't teach a straight rank curriculum. My payroll runs 30 to 35% of the gross, regardless of what I want to make. Unless I'm the instructor, then I'm part of that 30 to 35%. That's my payroll. If your payroll's running more than that or less than that, you're probably not being fair with your instructors if they're doing all the work. 30 to 35% of payroll. My schedule is different than Master Von Schmeling. My schedule's based on age. All 3 to 6-year-olds are in the same class regardless of rank. All 6 to 9-year-olds are in the same class regardless of rank. All 9 to 12-year-olds are in the same class regardless of rank. That's where the rotating curriculum comes in. I test every 3 months, not every 2 months. How many of you think every 2 months they can learn enough to be tested on? Probably not. And I do it every 3 months, kind of like a curriculum in college, on a semester basis. I run on a semester basis just like college, and when that's over, they learn something brand new. They don't learn a continuation of the same thing. The 4 arts I teach, and these are just what I teach, not what you have to teach, and it's different than Master von Schmeling. I teach, some of my schools teach traditional martial arts, plus a little extra rhythm with either Krav Maga the first semester, traditional, which includes XMA the second semester. The third semester is Fight Club, including ground. Fourth semester is Kali, including weapons and fighting. The sparring with each of those is different. The sparring in self-defense includes every dirty trick. So the first semester sparring includes low kicks, groin kicks, grabs, holds, that's sparring. In the traditional semester, the second semester, sparring is point karate like you've always done. The third semester is Fight Club, which is continuous sparring. And the last semester, which is Kali, is combat sparring with weapons. Each sparring is different. Each curriculum is different. They're only 3 months long, and every instructor can learn it in 1 weekend. They learn the whole curriculum in 1 week. I'm not telling you what to do it. I'm just saying, think about what you do in your model. My models are designed to produce for me and the company from $2,000 to $5,000 per month. I do have schools that produce $40,000 and $50,000 per month in net profit. But my model is spend about $100,000 of somebody's money, get back $2,000 a month. That's 24%. Every single investment you've ever made, if they guarantee you 24%, you'd take it. But somehow when it gets to our business, you think, no, 24,000 out of 100 is not enough. Doesn't make sense. So 2,000 to 5,000 is my target profit margin. And I'm looking at profit first and as soon as possible. I do train my people. One time I have staff meetings on Monday and Wednesday. I learned it from Master Jeff Smith 100 years ago. Master von Schmeling holds his on Monday and Wednesday. I've tried doing left staff meetings. Said, can I just train them one time and they got it forever? No. Can I just do 8 weeks of training and they got it forever? No. They can't. Even in the restaurant business, which Rudy's in there, and I learned from Master Reed, we had a restaurant in Denver, Colorado. The training is so specific, you have to check everything. And all of you have heard me tell the story about, in this restaurant, the salt goes here and the pepper goes here. And you turn and walk away, and when you come back, the salt's somewhere else. And you, without losing your temper, you go, let me show you how this is. The salt goes here, the pepper goes here. And you walk away, and next, they're both moved. And you come back without losing your temper and go, the salt goes here and the pepper goes here. How long do you do that? Forever. It's not a one-time teach it and they got it. Even you, if nobody watches, you change shit all the time. You think it's okay, and they think it's okay. Unless you check, the salt goes here and the pepper goes here. How long do you have to train them? Forever. That's why I've only had meetings in Jacksonville, Florida since '76 on Monday and Wednesday. Since 1976. Okay? Since 1976, because I've got to get the salt and pepper in the right place. You can't say, well, I trained them last year, and they're doing it wrong. In this business, if you're hiring the right people, they'll move the salt and pepper. They have ideas of their own. After 10 years, they have as much experience as you do. They think they're entitled to move the salt and pepper. And unless you go back and fix it, pretty soon, all the salt and pepper will be on one table. And people have to ask you for it. Their job's to move it, your job's to put it back. Their job's to move it. When you see somebody bowing wrong, that was their job. Your job's to fix it. When you see somebody with their uniform on backwards, unless it's the pants, that was their job. Your job's to have it put on right. Their job's to change it, your job's to fix it. And somebody said, well, I don't want to train all my people, and then what if they quit? Or what if you don't train them and they stay? That's 10 times worse. It costs you a lot more money. They will quit when you don't have anything for them. Now, whether my system works or not, the average instructor have been with me 18 years, many over 30 years. They're still with me in a school that I own, not that they own, over 30 years. The average instructor, 18 years. I have a few newer ones. People are talking about replacing and hiring new people. If you're having to hire new people all the time, something's wrong in Denver. If everything's working and they're getting what they need, the things Master Von Schmeling talked about, they're getting significance and they're getting time off and they're getting enough money, you won't be hiring all the time. You won't be. My job is to create a unit that produces $100,000 at least for every chief instructor. If I've got a chief instructor in 3 years, he can't make $100,000, I've let him down and I got to really train him or do the job for him. Why would you do the job for him? Because I want him to get a big paycheck. Anybody ever do multi-level marketing in here? If you're in a martial arts business, someone's pitched you, I know they have. Your job in multi-level marketing is everybody you recruit, get them a big check, and they might stay. Get them a big check, and they might stay. Don't say, here's what you do, go out and make money. Not it. In your business, your job's to get them a big check. That means if I have to do the work for them, that's what I do. Because I'm trying to get someone to stay with me 18 to 30 years, 18 to 25 years, 18 to my life. I haven't worked in a school since 1976, other than teach black belt classes on Tuesday and Thursday night, teach my meetings on Monday and Wednesday from 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock to 2 hours, and do seminars like this. That's it, since 1976. Somebody said, if you want to get out of your school, you got to do all this stuff, you got to have all these systems. Well, you do and you don't. You do and you don't. You got one school, you shouldn't need any damn system. Sorry. I don't need a system. I can do $1 million without systems. I can do $1 million without system, and I don't go to any schools. I don't go. I have my highest grossing school last year was $1.2 million. I've never been to that studio. 2,400 square feet, 3 full-time people, 2 part-time people. The company's net off of it was $549,000. The instructor made $2.25. My job is to get every chief instructor over $100,000. I think that if your purpose is how much money you can make, you'll have a problem with other people. So I learned from Master Reed, what work do you do? In 1976, I quit fighting PK. I quit going to ATA tournaments as a competitor. I quit doing those things, and the Grandmaster said, okay, now you can test. So I got to test for 4th degree, and I had a conversation. Anybody ever hear of the Showboat Lounge in Las Vegas? It used to be a bowling alley slash casino slash whatever you could get away with. That was in Las Vegas. And he said, okay, I said, okay, now I'm ready to not fight anymore, take care of business. And he said, what do you love to do in your business? And I said those 3 things. I love to teach the black belt classes. I love to do my meetings. And I love doing seminars. And he said, try that for 90 days. If that meets your per diem, and my per diem was I needed to do about $9,000 a month, then that's all you have to do for the rest of your life. 90 days later, we talked. He said, did you reach your money? I said, no. He said, you better learn to love something else. So those of you who are stuck loving something, I'm not pointing any fingers, that may not allow you to reach your per diem, I'm not pointing 4 fingers. You better learn to love something else, because no matter how much you love it, it's got to give you what you need to live abundantly. It has to. There's no reason for you to be broke. I know money's not important, but the lack of it is. The lack of it's important. More people are divorced about money than sex, which I don't understand, because sex is more important. Oh, not really. It is. Okay? But more people divorce because of money, and it's because somebody didn't pay attention to it. Either they spent too much, they didn't make enough, they didn't allow somebody else to spend. So Master Reed said, you better learn to love something else. I went back and taught all the beginner classes, did all the upgrades for the next 90 days, and trained somebody to do that job, and I haven't been back since then. I only do seminars like this once in a while now, because it fits into, does it make me happy, does it give me freedom, am I able to help somebody, and the Monday meetings, Monday and Wednesday. I don't have to do those, it's what I love to do. So